Hey guys, Satyajit Pattnaik here. Thank you all for joining this machine learning live classes completely for free on my YouTube channel. It's been quite a long time I have done these live classes. Literally, I was thinking twice, thrice about this, whether should I go ahead with this live classes or not. I was also skeptical on the number of users. I was very happy seeing 50 plus people watching my streams in the first two classes. Then the numbers declined, which is completely fine. But anyways, it was a roller coaster journey for me. So we are here at the end of the program. This is going to be the deployment class where we will be talking about a project. We will be deploying it, we will be converting it to APIs, and then we will be locally deploying it, and we will also be deploying it on AWS. So this is going to be an end-to-end project video. Now, just hold on. One more thing to talk about is we have not covered two topics in this entire series of machine learning classes, right? Feature engineering was not covered. Hyperparameter optimization was not covered. Feature engineering, you will be finding the videos in the link in the description. So I have made a machine learning playlist where feature engineering videos are already available to you. PCA, LDA, the mathematics behind PCA and LDA. So please go through that. As because of time constraint, I was not able to teach you live, but you already have the videos. Please go through that. What about hyperparameter optimization? Am I going to skip that part and conclude machine learning? Hell no. Hyperparameter optimization is one of the most critical and important topic in machine learning. But today is the last class, right? So when are we going to teach hyperparameter optimization? Well, next Saturday, I'm going to release a 2 hours video, not exactly 2 hours, but 1.5 hours of videos on hyperparameter optimization. So please go through that video. It will be live on my channel next Saturday at 8 p.m. IST. So please watch out the video on hyperparameter optimization, and your entire machine learning thing will be a green tick, which means now you know machine learning. Apart from that, for people who are very much interested to get into data science and AI domain and are still skeptical of taking a course online, there are a bunch of courses, right? You can actually enroll for my course at a very minimal cost. I usually have the MRP or the price tag as 9,999. To all my viewers, I usually sell it at 7,999, but especially for people who are attending the machine learning live classes, I have reduced the price to further around 5,999. So in 5,999, around 6,000 INR, you are getting 150 hours of contents, fast-paced contents, 30 plus data science and AI and generative AI projects, end-to-end projects. My guidance throughout your journey, and I will also be helping you out with resume preparation, interview preparation, and multiple other things. What are you waiting for? If you're interested, enroll for this program right now, and see you in the video.
Hi, welcome to this module on deployment. So far, I believe you all have studied about machine learning, you studied about deep learning, NLP, and various other concepts, right? Now it is time to take the next step to convert your standalone Python notebooks to an application. Okay, now how can we convert our standalone Python notebooks, which is a .py file or a .ipynb file, to an application? There is a way. There are ways. Using Flask, you can actually convert your entire Python code into an application, and then actually by the use of little bit of HTML and CSS, you will be able to create a beautiful front end. And in the front end, you can actually use your machine learning, deep learning, or any kind of model to interact with the front end and do something. Now for example, let me try to give an example, because we all understand layman's term, right? So we all have been through churn prediction use case, right? We know what is churn prediction. Imagine you have a data set of, let's say, 1,000 records. You have customers and you have their churn column as well, which says about churned or active or churned, right? So you divide your data, you do your feature scaling, blah blah blah, you create your multiple models and so on. Let's say you finalize this model, let's say model 1. Now you present it to your higher management or to your clients, and they wants to try this model. How can we do? how can we let them try? Because you cannot go to your higher management and tell them to install Python and do all these things, right? So what can be done here is you can potentially take this model. Okay, now there is a way where you can actually download your model in a .pkl file or a .h5 file, so that you don't have to run your codes again and again and again. Your model is ready, you download it, and then what you can do is you just have to create a Flask application. Now Flask application is just a feasible way of solving this problem, and the reason why I'm explaining you Flask application is because eventually you will be working on multiple projects by yourself, right? Flask application is always the first step to convert your POC to an application or to a web application. So using Flask application, you have to start writing your code. Then you can actually call your model, take the inputs and give an output. And basically you're converting your Python code into an application format. And then you deploy it. Once you deploy it, you will be given a front end. And now in this front end, you can pass your customer information and click on submit. On click of submit, basically what happens is it calls this notebook. This notebook goes through this model, goes through the model.predict, whatever output it passes as an output, and this output is received on the front end, and you basically show that this customer is potentially going to churn in the next 6 months. This is what the application looks like. Okay, so I gave a very general overview on what Flask applications looks like. In reality, do we use Flask? Do we use something else? In reality, it could be anything. Let's say you want to integrate your application to an existing tool, or you want to integrate your application to an existing website. So depending on organization's ask, your requirement, based on your requirement, your way of converting your code into applications changes, right? This particular session on Flask will actually help you to be a proficient on Flask. If you want to do some POCs, you just can use Flask to take it to another level. Going down the line, I will also have a video on how to deploy Flask applications on cloud, but that will be not covered in this video. It will be covered in the next video. Okay, so general overview of deployment of a code works like this. So let me do a quick architecture so that you all understand, and in the next video we shall be jumping into Flask. So we have code and we divide the we have data. We divide the data into training and test. We do all the feature scaling, feature engineering, whatever you want to do, and then you call your models, right? Here you call model 1, model 2, model 3, and you test it. Then you finalize the model and then do hyperparameter optimization, and then you create the final model. Let's say M3 is your final model. Now what happens is these all processes are restrictive to the data science team, right? Or the AI team, right? Now what you need to do is, once your model is ready, you basically go and talk to your data engineer. What needs to be done? Where do we deploy it? Based on your decisions with the clients, with your higher management, you should come to a conclusion that this has to be deployed in somewhere, maybe in a website or a new application or something like that. Now you basically pass the models, the .pkl files, to your data engineer, basically ask them to work on the pipeline part. But eventually in some companies you don't have data engineering team. In that case, you are responsible for the application. So you basically go and convert it into a REST based APIs. I will write it down as APIs. You convert Flask to APIs, and then you integrate it with your front end. Once your front end integration is done, when you go to front end and click something, on this click, basically you are trying to hit, using the APIs, you are trying to hit the machine learning models. Models predict, and the prediction goes into the output. Prediction also goes into database. Okay, all this data also is coming from this database, and that is how the overall architecture looks like. Okay, so this is from a very layman's point of view. In the next video we shall be jumping and actually talking about Flask, and going forward we will also be creating we will be taking one of the examples that we took in machine learning, and we will try to potentially create a Flask application out of it. Flask, creating a Flask application is not that difficult. Let's But yeah, we will be moving ahead and talking about that in the next video. So in the previous video we talked about the general concepts behind deployment, right? How do we convert our Python code into an APIs and then deploy an application, right? So yes, now in this video we are going to talk about Flask. What do you mean by Flask? Now if you ask me, I have literally built more than 10,000 Flask applications in my entire life. Any kind of proof of concept I do, any kind of proof of concept I work on, be it for my company, be it for my freelancing, anything, I do not do a simple Python based code, because eventually when you are trying to showcase your projects to somebody who is coming from a non technical background, who has a very good domain level understanding, they will not be understanding code. You need to be visually appealing, right? Your application has to be visually appealing. So that's why we convert codes into Flask applications using some HTML and CSS knowledge as well. Even though I don't have HTML and CSS knowledge, I will also help you on that part little bit, on how to leverage ChatGPT and start working on HTML and CSS. On the Python side, I'm pretty much sure you all can handle. So Flask is a micro web framework used to build web applications. Okay, now basically what happens is Apache usually uses the WSGI file, the web service gateway interface files, to access our Flask applications. So the WSGI file allows Apache to interact with Python as if it is native. Okay, that is also another feature of Flask. Now Flask is also flexible and easy to use. Okay, now before we move on, I would also like to show you some of the Flask applications that we have built. So let me show you some of the Flask based applications that we have created, and some of these will also be given to you as part of the end-to-end projects in this particular series. So this is one of the Flask application. I will not go into the use case. This is nothing but a insurance automated AI powered claim processing use case, where you pass all this information, and the moment you click on submit, you get some output like whether the insurance claim is valid or rejected due to some reasons. Now try to understand what happens is, you have this front end, right? From this front end, your all this information goes as an input to your model. So when you click on this model, your backend code is hit, and from the backend code you take all this information, call your model, get the output, and send this output to the front end. This is what it happens. Similarly, I will also show you another application which also we have created. So let's say this is the application. Now these days everybody is moving towards GPTs and all those things. That's why, this is another GPT based application. Again, some LLM model in backend, but just consider this as a ML model or any kind of NLP deep learning model. From the front end, if you pass something, let's say you talk about essay grading system. Now here, let's say you are passing your grading rubrics. Let's say grade this essay based on writing 0 to 100 score, and based on grammar 0 to 100 score, something like that, and you give this, and then you have to pass some blog or paragraph. Let's say I randomly give some paragraph, let's say da, 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 and then I pass it here. So this entire paragraph is going as an input to the model, and then the model processes it, and the model gives you some output. Okay, now, well, this is in Chinese because this was a requirement. This is one of my freelancing projects. But yeah, the core idea what I'm talking about is all your simple boring Python notebooks can be converted into Flask applications like this, beautiful Flask applications. However, to create beautiful applications, you will need front end skills, but without front end skills also, how to prepare us not so beautiful but okay type of applications I will teach you. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to Flask. So moving on to Flask, we all know Flask is a micro web framework to use to build web applications. So I hope you understood, right? You have a UI, and imagine you have a backend machine learning model that is deployed somewhere in a server, right? Now what happens is, from the front end, you take all this information as a JSON or as an input, and you are calling this machine learning model. In this machine learning model, when you are doing the model.predict, you are taking all this information, you are doing all the pre-processing stuffs, and then you are passing the processed data, and whatever the model predicts or whatever the model gives as an output, that goes as an output and it is showed here in the UI. That is what it is. And this binding part, how this UI is binded, how the code goes and hits the ML, that is basically the Flask. Okay, so let's try to get ahead with it. Flask also has an important concept called as Flask URL binding. Okay, now what do you mean by URL binding? URL binding is a very simple concept. You go to any website, let's say for the time being I'll talk about facebook.com. Okay, now facebook.com, by default it goes to the slash directory, and let's say you are going to another page, let's say slash profile. What is this? This is basically slash profile, right? In backend, from somewhere you are triggering, if the user clicks on this, the user should be redirected to this page. This is Flask URL binding. It is used to build an URL to specify function dynamically. Let's say you have the home page. Home pages are like this. Let's say you have something like page 2. That means this is your page 2, website.com/page 2. Now, one more important concept to understand Flask is HTTP methods. I hope you all know about HTTP methods. In case you don't, you should know. HTTP is nothing but hypertext transfer protocol. And there are multiple HTTP methods like get, post, whatnot. There are multiple. So, what is get? In simple format, get is nothing but it sends the data in unencrypted format to the server. What are some of the other HTTP methods? So this is a website that you can refer to understand a little bit about HTTP. It is w3schools.com, and these are all your different HTTP methods. We have get. Get is used to request data from a specified resource. Note that the query setting, okay, you can go through it later on. Post, most important method, is used to send data to a server to create or update a resource. And then you can check out the comparison between get and post, and there are various other methods like put, head. However, we don't use a lot these methods. The most important methods for us is get and post, but just to refresh your knowledge on HTTP, you can probably go through this particular page. And after HTTP, we also have HTTPS, which is a secured HTTP. Again, you can go through those basics because eventually you are moving into Flask, right? So you need to know about all these things. So I'm not repeating all these things. I hope you do your self study and understand the different HTTP methods. Now moving ahead, let's try to talk more about URL binding. What is URL binding? Now in Flask, what we do is we write something like this: app.root or route, and let's say slash, and then we call, let's say, the function hello, and then return this is Pata. Now this is one example. Okay, another example is slash admin. This is admin. Now try to understand these two contexts. Now in the first context, what's happening is you're actually asking your application to get routed to slash directory. When you go here, this function will be called, and potentially you will be getting this message on the screen, which is this is Pata. And then this basically gets redirected to admin, and here, okay, logically it should be a different function name. Let's say hello underscore admin, and this is what will get printed here. So what is the main understanding here? The main understanding is, if you want to have a function and you want to redirect that function to a particular URL, you need to write this app.root function. Okay, so app.root will basically help you to route to this particular location, and it will do whatever you have set in your function. Okay, now try to understand the Flask application structure. Okay, the Flask app structure. Now there are multiple things here. The Flask app structure consists of Flask object, which is the central configuration object for the entire application. The second is the root functions. Okay, it defines the URLs. And the third is your view function. After this, we will be studying the last theoretical thing, and we will jump into the practicals, because many of you might be thinking or getting bored by the theoretics, right? Theoretical concepts. In method, we have app.run, most important method. It is used to run the Flask application. The second most important is app.root or route, used for URL binding. And the third is app.debug. It helps you to debug your application. Okay, so enough of the theory. Let's jump and build our very simple Flask application. Hi, welcome to this practicals on Flask. Now in the previous video I talked about the basics of Flask, what exactly is Flask. Now we will get started with Flask. So in this video I will explain you what are the different Flask functions that we use. How do we get started with Flask with a very basic web application, obviously without HTML and CSS in this video, but going forward we will also try to use the churn prediction use case or any other use case, and we will try to take that and we will try to build a Flask application end to end. That will give you an idea on how do you convert your general machine learning or NLP or deep learning models simple code into Flask web applications. Okay, to get started with, let me open a file or maybe just create a file. I will name it as app.py. Okay, so to get started with, we will be importing the Flask, from Flask import Flask. Now in your case, you might be new to Flask, so the first thing is you need to install Flask. Okay, in my case Flask is already installed in my machine, so I'm reinstalling it just to show you the command. This is how the command looks like: pip install Flask. As I already told you, in my case my requirement is already satisfied. In your case it will install Flask for the first time. In case you are using Anaconda prompt, you can also do the pip installation there. So it's up to you, whatever you want to use, you can use it. In my case, for this exercise, I am using Spider Notebook. If you are using PyCharm or VS Code, I think you'll figure out how to install libraries. You can go to your console and install it. So my Flask is installed. We will get started with the very first thing, which is, let's say I'll define my Flask. App is equals to Flask and name. Here actually I am instantiating the Flask application. I'm creating the Flask app. Okay. And the very first thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to do URL binding. So we will get started with it. The very first thing is app.root. So here I will pass slash, and then here I will define my function. Let's say my function is hello, and I'm going to return I am Sparta. Okay, this is what we studied, right? Now after this function is ready, what we can do is, just to get started with Flask, you have to do app.run. That's it. Just few lines of code and your Flask application is ready. Now let's try to start this application. Again, if you are using Anaconda prompt, you have to go to that location and then you have to run python app.py. We can do that. So you can see our Flask application is serving. The application name is app. The debug mode is off. I will talk about debug mode. And then running on HTTP something something something. So this is nothing but your local host. Okay. Now you need to go to this location. So I will go to my browser and I will open this. Sorry, my bad. I have to select it and then open it, and you can see I'm able to print. I am able to see I am Sparta because my web application is actually returning me this thing. So try to understand what's happening behind the hoods. I'm directly going to localhost and I'm calling my server colon my console, my port name number. By default, the port number that we use is 5000 if you don't define anything. Okay, how do we change the port number? We can change the port number here. I will talk about it later. So right now what's happening is, when I am going to this website, localhost, it can also be used like localhost 5000. Now what's happening here is, behind the hoods it is going and accessing the home directory, which is slash. That's it. Now when you are calling this slash, it is basically calling this function, and this function is returning me I am Sparta. Now let's say we want to move to another location, let's say page 2. What will happen? If you look at the code, there is no page 2. So logically it should give me an error, and you can see, sorry, page 2, you can see not found. The requested URL was not found on the server. Okay, so I will close this, or let it be. I will try to close my application by doing Ctrl+C. I will open the application from Spider Notebook. In case you are not familiar with Anaconda prompt, you can either run your application here, or you can simply go and run your application here also. Okay, both the ways will work. Now as our application is turned off, now let's say I will add another route function. Let's say here I will give page 2, and here I will write it down as admin. I am admin. So what's happening? I created two functions. Okay, I need to also change the function name. You cannot have same function name, else your server will get confused, your code will get confused, right? So let's say hello2. Now everything is good. I will again turn on my application. I'll again go and refresh my application. I am Sparta, looks good. Now if I go to page 2, you can see I am returning I am admin. And that is how the URL binding is working, right? You can bind as much URL as possible. Now one more thing to note is, let's say you want to do some changes on the go while the server is running. See, let's say you want to add a new page, admin. It is not there. Can I add a new page let's say something like this, and I will write it down as admin, and let's say this is a restricted page. This is just a print statement, right? I'm adding this. Now try to understand this thing. My server is still running and I did some changes to my code. So will this code be applicable? Will this change be applicable? Let's try to test it out. So let's say this is my application, this is my page 2. Fine, I'll go to admin, and you can see the requested page was not found. Now the reason behind this is the server is already active. Either you have to turn it off, or else you have to turn on the debug mode. When you have turned on the debug mode, you can do changes on the go. Okay, so I'll close this server, and as my changes are already done, let's say my changes are already done, let me just cancel it out. Okay, this is my original application right now. I will change my debug mode to true. Done, everything is good. Now I will again run the piece of code and look at this thing. You can see debug mode off. Now the debug mode is on. You can see debugger is active, debug mode is on. Now if you again go to admin, it will say the requested URL is not found. Now I will do the changes. So I am doing changes on the go in the server. I don't care if the server is running or not. If the debug mode is true, it should logically take this code into consideration. Now if you go and refresh this, you will see, one second. Something is wrong. View function mapping is overwriting an existing endpoint. Oh, my bad. Because this endpoint is same, right? I will change it to hello 4. Okay. Now I did the changes and I'm running this code. My local host, what is wrong? Okay, my application is executed, like it is completed, because my endpoint was same, right? That was the problem. So I will again do the same task. I will change it. I will again turn on my application. Debug mode is on, so I will just test it out. Yeah, working fine. Now I will be adding the new route function, which is admin. The function name is also changed. Now let's try to see whether admin is working or not, and see, wow, admin is working. Initially it was not working, now it is working, because the debug mode is true. Understood? There is another way you can also turn on the debug. Now debug can be turned on from the code itself, like this, or else if you want to turn it off, close this app, turn it off. Now the debug mode is off. Okay, if you run, it will potentially say debug mode is off, right? I'm closing it. Now I want to set the debug mode from the console. So how to set that? You can do set flask debug is equals to 1. If you do that and turn on the app, you can see debug mode is on. Even if my debug is not defined here, automatically this environment configuration is already done, so my flask debug is turned on, right? Wow, wonderful. Now one more thing, one last thing before we move ahead with the actual use case. I'm closing it. You can see right now it is being hosted in 5000, right? How do we change the port? Let's say port is equals to 8000. Now in order to run on this port, first of all you need to make sure whether this port is activated on your system or not. So eventually sometimes what we do is we deploy Flask applications to cloud, let's say AWS or Azure or GCP. Now in Azure, AWS and GCP, you have to do this configuration manually. There is a space called as ports. You have to go manually open these ports. I am assuming that this port should be open by default on my Windows. Let's see if our application is executed on 8000 or not. So I will run this app and you can see automatically this application is running on 8000. I'll go now, I will go to my 5000 and you can see it should not return anything. It will fail because there is no application running on this port. Is it working on 8000? Logically it should. Wow, there is some failure. No failures yet. Okay, so maybe yeah, it's running. So I think it was taking some time, but yeah, it's running. So that is the main idea behind Flask. Now you are able to understand how the concepts work. Now what I'm going to do is I will be onboarding some concept which is similar to HTML and CSS concepts. What we are going to do is we will be using some URL binding like this. Imagine it to be something like this. We will be using a home page, so where we will be rendering a home page. Whatever input we are taking from the home page, we will be taking that. Those input will go to our models. Our model will be called and model will respond and give some output. Those output will go as an output to the Flask application. This is the task. Okay, so in the next video we shall be jumping into that, where we will be converting one of the real-time use cases into a Flask based application. See you in the next video. Hi. So far, we have a sound knowledge on Flask. I would say beginner knowledge on Flask so far. Now, in this video, what we are going to do is we have taken a particular use case around healthcare, which is breast cancer prediction. We are going to build a simple machine learning model, which will take us around like 10-15 minutes to create. I'm not going to go in depth into this, as in how to do the feature engineering, how to do the feature scaling, how to do the hyperparameter optimization. No, our focus is on Flask application, right? So I will be creating a basic machine learning model, and then I will be taking this model to create our Flask application. So let's get started. So for this exercise, I have used this particular website, which is already open here. Looks little bit messy, but ultimately it's a comma separated data. Now this is the GitHub repository from which I have taken. If you want to go, you can go here. And if you also want to download this CSV and just check it out, this is how the CSV looks like. Now we have this column called as diagnosis, which is our potential y variable, and these are all the x variables that we have. So we have radius mean, texture mean, perimeter mean, and so on. There are so many columns. Okay, now let's get started. So to move on, let me just name it as breast cancer prediction. Let's say I'll name it as zip. Okay, so for this exercise, I have already imported my libraries. I will also import few more because I would be needing sklearn model selection, import what is that, train test plate. I will also be taking one of my models, let's say blindly, let's say we will be using ensemble model. So let's say random forest classifier. What else? We will also be taking sklearn.metrics, import accuracy score. For now I think we are good. If in case I remember anything, I'll come back and import it. So this is how my dataset looks like. So let's go ahead and check the dataset. This is how my data looks like. I have ID, I have diagnosis, and I have all these columns. Okay, now you can see there are some columns which are not a number columns. I think the way we have taken the data to pandas, somehow a random column has been created. We have to get rid of this, and we also have to get rid of ID. Okay, so again, as I told you, my focus is not on building a sustainable end-to-end machine learning project. Here my aim is to let you know about Flask, right? If you want to know about the ML part, I think you should stick to the ML videos, and I think the way we have taught in ML, you will be able to create an end-to-end use case. So I'm not going to focus on that. End-to-end use cases will be covered in depth in projects, right? So let's get started. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to do a encoding. So on the diagnosis column, I'm going to do a label encoding. So df of diagnosis, I'm going to map. So let's say for m 1 and for B 0. I hope my coding skills are still intact. DF diagnosis value counts, and yeah, here you go, we have zeros and ones. So I have done label encoding, so I'm just writing it down here. So this is basically label encoding, okay, on my y variable. Done. So here M basically means malignant, B means benign, okay. M means malignant and B means benign, okay. So you can assume it as M is cancerous, B is non-cancerous, right? Use case I'm not going to explain. This is like a breast prediction use case. People like ladies who have potential issues or who are thinking that they might be having breast cancer or not, they basically go through multiple blood tests and various tests. So these are all your test results, right? From your blood test or various other tests, these are your medical parameters that we have extracted, and these are the, ladies with M, and there are some ladies with B, so we have to do a classification here. Now for this use case, I don't want to use the entire set of features. I will be restricting this to like 4 or 5 features. So let's say I'll be taking randomly some of these features. Let's say features is equals to, let's say what we will take, texture mean we will take. What else we will take? Let's say we will take perimeter mean. Let's say smoothness mean, okay. See, I don't know which features are important, which are not. I'm randomly taking compactness mean, and let's say, okay, okay, we'll take radius mean. So let's say, let's serially take everything. Radius mean, texture mean, perimeter mean, area is not there. Okay, fine, area is not there. Smoothness mean and compactness mean. Okay, fine, these are my features, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my data into x and y. So I have my x, which is df of features, and I have my y, which is df dot diagnosis. I think till here everything is clear. Then I will be calling my train test split. So I'm going to write down as x train x test, y train y test is equals to train test split on my x and y data. Let's say my testing size is 0.2. Just to check how much is my training data, 455. How much is my testing data? Around 114. All good. Till here everything is good. I'm not concerned about a model feature engineering and stuffs like that, so I'm directly doing the model building part. Done. Model building directly. So which model do we call? We will be calling the random forest classifier. Random forest classifier. Let's say I want to pass it on n estimators equals to 100, or let's say 500, and we are using CPU, so I will just write it down as n jobs equals to -1. By default also it is -1. If you want, you can skip it. And then I will be doing model.fit on my training data. Done. Model is ready. Our random forest classifier model is ready. Now what we will be doing is we will be taking the predictions is equals to model.predict, and here I will be passing the testing data. Done. My predictions are done. We already have the y test. Now I will directly call my accuracy score, and I will be calling prediction and my y test. And what is it? 95.61%, which is great. Now if you want to just print it, accuracy is this, and then 95 point something something. If you want to make it 100 and then concat it with percentage, you can write it down like this, 95.61%. And if you want to again round it up, just use the round function. Done. Accuracy is 95.61%, which is mind blowing. Okay, so the model is ready. Now what? Now I will be doing one more thing, which is prediction on a random data point. What does this mean? This means, let's say in my hospital or in my clinic, here comes a lady, and lady has all this information about her radius mean, texture mean, blah blah blah, and then she wants to test this particular functionality of our AI model, and she wants to know whether she has breast cancer or not, right? So I will be creating a data, let's say 1 2 3 4 5, randomly I am passing something. I'll be creating a new data frame, pd.data frame, and I'm passing my data. I'm passing my columns is equals to, and I will be passing all these features. I'm just letting, I'm just creating a new data frame with all these features. That's it. And then I'm creating single is equals to model.predict. I'm going to pass the new data frame. I think till here everything is fine. Let's try to run this. And my single is ready. What is my single? If you print my single, it will show you whether it is 0 or 1, whether it is cancerous or not, whether it is malignant or benign, right? 0 means benign, 1 means malignant, right? So I also want to do one more thing. Apart from model.predict, you can also do model.predict proba. So let's say I want to store it as proba is equals to model.predict underscore proba. So proba is very one of the most important concepts. Proba basically gives you the probability score. Okay. Now, if you have a probability score of 0.4, you can round it off to 0, right? So you are doing dot predict, it will give you a concrete class 1 or 0. Probability will give you the probabilistic score. If it is 0.8, it eventually means class 1. If it is 0.3, it eventually means class 2, class 0, right? Something like that. Now I will also run this and just want to check my proba. The proba score is, you can see, for class 0 it is 0.7, for class 1 it is 0.22. Now I will be using proba because ultimately I want to tell that whether the person is diagnosed with breast cancer or not. If he or she, sorry, she is diagnosed with breast cancer, with how much probability, right? So what I'm going to do is, here I will be creating a simple clause. If my single is equals to 1, then output is equals to, I'm creating an output, the patient is diagnosed with breast cancer. Done. My output 1 is equals to, see, I'm simplifying things. Okay. Confidence dot format probability into 100, and then else again I will copy paste these things. My output is the patient is not diagnosed with breast cancer, and output 2 I can leave it blank. Sorry, output 1 I can leave it blank because, sorry, I can leave, oh, here also I have to pass this. Done. This is proba, my bad. Okay, now I will cancel this out and I will directly run this. Let's run okay, we have an extra semicolon here. Something is wrong. Confidence, this dot format, oh, my bad. Yeah, I think we are good. So we'll run this, and here you go. The output is, oh, there is no output. Okay, I have to print output plus output 1. And what is the output? The output is the patient is not diagnosed with breast cancer. Well, the model is working fine. I want to test it on a real-time data. So let's say I'll take randomly one of the data. So radius mean till compactness mean. So I will take this data. So let's say 1 2 wait, radius mean, texture mean, perimeter mean, area mean, smoothness mean, compactness mean. So let's try to take this. But if you remember, we have not taken area mean, right? So perimeter mean after the third column, 1 2 3, this I should reject. Okay, now this is a real-time data. Now let's see, for this person is malignant, which means class 1. So let us see if our model is able to predict it or not. And wow, the model is able to predict. Something is wrong. This formatting option is not working. Format of proba. Okay. So predict proba of new df, I have to pass the first result. Okay, I will do the same change here. Done. So for this one, patient is not diagnosed. For this one, patient is diagnosed with a breast cancer. Output is okay. Let's say I'll just directly pass proba into 100. It's okay. These are all formatting issues, right? It's okay. Confidence. No problem. It's just a minor thing. I think we'll fix it up. But I think you got my point, right? So this person is diagnosed with breast cancer with a confidence level of 92%. Okay, and this person is not diagnosed with breast cancer. So our model is working. I tested it on a real-time data, right? One of the existing data. So if you tweak something around these, let's say 15 point something, 11 point something, 121 point something, 0.284, 0.376, it should also give a very similar score. You can see with 83% confidence level, this person is diagnosed with breast cancer. Now this model I'm going to take and I'm going to create a Flask application out of it. Are you all excited? Yes. Let's move on to the next video. Okay, so let's move on. In the previous video, we showed you how to train this model. Now in this video, I'm going to leverage what has been done in the previous video, and potentially I'm going to create a Flask application from scratch. So let's get started. Now in order to save time, I have already created the HTML file. Now try to understand this thing, that we are potentially going to create an application where we will be using HTML as well, because when the front end opens, right, it should give us a layout. So I will show you the HTML, and then potentially I will show you how to create such HTMLs. Now this is what my HTML looks like. I mean, it's very simple, and I think anybody can create something like this. Anything beyond this, if you want to make it look more beautiful, add images, add a lot of things, well, that is something where you need to have HTML and CSS knowledge. I will see if I am able to take a session on that. Probably I can share my strategies when I build some products, right? When I build some Flask applications, how do I do it? Because I already have a backend and the front end team. So whenever I create some Flask applications, I create it like this, and I potentially send this HTML and the CSS files to my front end developer, and I ask him, hey, can you please beautify it? And then he comes with a beautiful layout. Okay, so we can, however, leverage that and work on the beautification part later. Let's focus on the core concepts, which is converting a simple machine learning code to a Flask application. Okay, so try to understand this thing. In parallel, I will also open this HTML file, which looks like this. It's a very simple file. If you want to do similar kind of things for your use case, let's say, what you can do is you can just simply copy paste the file, and instead of by default it happened .py. So what you can do is you can simply copy it and then open it here, and let's say this is my home copy. Let's say you are working on a different use case. Let's say you are working on a fraud detection use case. So just change the title, and what else? Here are the things that you need to change. So you can see all these are division blocks, div blocks, where you don't have to change anything here. Only in the label you have to change. What is the label? So this is something this part, the texture min, perimeter min. Okay, and here nothing to change, nothing to change. ID is very important, name is important, and this thing, because you are potentially passing all the information in this query. Okay, so this is this thing. So if you pass 1 2 3 and click on submit, potentially this value will be gone in this particular ID, and this particular ID you will be using in your Python notebook, Python code. Okay, so probably I'll come to this HTML part later on at the end of the session or in the next video, but this is how I do. Like if you want to change, instead of this, if you want few more columns, just copy paste, and then you just change the column names, something like this, and change your query IDs, let's say 6 and 7, and then change it here 6 and 7, and then let's say change it here 6 and 7. That's it. Save it and then open it, and this is how it looks like. We have added 2 more queries, right? Now coming on to the output part. So output is here. You can see there is another div block for the output. Okay, we have output 1 and output 2. So, and we also have a button. You can see there is a submit button. So we have created a button, and we will be triggering this button from our backend code. I'll come to this particular HTML later on. Let me just close it. Close it, close it. Done. Now let's get started with our Flask part. So in order to get started, I will be moving to the previous folder, and here I will be creating a new notebook. Let's say I will name it as app.py, and let's get started. This could be a little bit bigger video, so try to pay attention and see. If you are stuck somewhere, just pause the video, try to grasp what has been taught, come back, and I think you should be okay. It's not that difficult, it's very easy. So I will be leveraging this piece of code. So I'm just copy pasting everything. My imports are done. I'm not going to run after every statement, because .py notebooks like this, PyCharm or Spider, you cannot really run line by line. If you want to run line by line or cell by cell, you have to go for Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab, right? So I'm relying that the code is working fine, or if you want to test it, you can test it. You can see on the right hand side it is running fine, no problem. Let's say somehow you do a mistake here and just run it, you will get an error. Okay, that is what you can do. Now let's get started. So the first thing is, of course, one more thing is I will be importing the math library, and I will be importing Flask. Flask is already imported. No, Flask is not imported, so I will be importing Flask. We also need to import request and render template. So render template is a very important thing. What does render template do? If you go to the documentation, it basically renders a template. So in our case, it will be rendering this particular home.html. That means when your application opens, it will be rendering this particular page. And again, when you click on submit, it will again render this page with the values and with the output, right? That is where render template is used. Now going back, so render template is done, and then I will also import might use I'll explain what is So I'm getting started with Flask. Let's say my name is going to be underscore name. Done. And then okay, we'll start with our basic route function slash def, let's say load page. I'm giving my first page as load page. Return render template. I'm going to render my home.html, and query is equals to query. Okay, what is my home.html? This thing, right? If you want to test it, you can always test it by doing app.run. So let's try to test it. There is a mistake here. My bad. App is equals to Flask something. Okay, now let's test it out. Run this code. The code is working fine. I will copy this, and then I'll go here and go here. You can see my template is being rendered, right? See, if you pass any values here, nothing will work. See, submit will not work because there is no redirection to that new page, because after you submit you have to redirect to another page, or at least you have to redirect to somewhere, right? So the redirection is not there, that's why it is telling method not allowed. Okay, so going back to the code, I will just use it later on, the app.run part. I will quickly get started with our post method, because to take something from the server, doing something and returning back to the server, or in simple terms from front end, you're taking some data inputs, calling your model and passing back something, right? For that you would definitely need a post method. So here I will be using this methods equals to post. I think should be all right. And then I will pass, in case it is not visible I can zoom in a little bit. So def, let's say cancer prediction, done. Just 1 second, submit button is there. Okay, cool, no problem. Yeah, all good, all good. Okay, so cancer prediction. Now what we need to do here, so I will start doing all these things. So dataset URL equals to this. In case you have your local file you can use that. I'm just directly calling this, and then after this I will be doing df is equals to pd.read csv dataset underscore url. That's it. So my data frame is ready. I don't want to do df.info and all those things. So here I will pass some of my input queries. Let's say input query 1. Let me write down the code and then I will explain. Okay, so I'm going to take directly from the request.form, and what I need to do, request.form of query 1. Okay, and then similarly, how many input queries do we have? um, Let me open my html. 1 2 3 4 5. There are 5 queries, so I will be doing 5 queries. So query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5. Similarly, query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5. Okay, moving ahead, then what I'm going to do is, see, everything you have to do inside this function. Okay, so next what I want to do, I will be going back to my code. I will be doing these. I will be copy pasting all these codes. Okay, copy paste, and then I'm going to not going to do this. I'm going to do this. Copy paste. This, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do and nothing like that. Okay, I'll be doing directly this model dot this thing. I'm calling the model random forest model. 1 second. So df train test plate random forest model. Yeah, all looks good. Model dot fit, and then I will be calling the predictions. Prediction equals to model dot this, and then I will be calling the metrics. I think we don't need accuracy metrics, because we are not concerned about the accuracy here, right? Because our model is already ready. So I don't want to call the accuracy and stuff. I'll directly move on to the this part, the prediction part. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this thing. So let me copy paste it. Now here instead of 1 2 3 4 I am going to pass all these input queries. Input query 1, input query 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I will rename it 4 yeah 3 query 3 query 2. Okay, all good so far. My data is ready, and then I will move on to the next part, which is this part, which is new df is equals to something something. Okay, I'm just copy pasting everything. I will not able to shorten this. Okay, no problem. I'll zoom out a little bit. I think it is still visible. It should not be a big problem. Now after my new df is read, what I'm going to do is I will call my single is equals to model dot predict. Basically okay, I'll be needing both, and then I will be needing both, and then proba is equals to this. comma, I think all good. And then okay, I'll directly go and do this one if prediction equals to this. So okay, all good. Indentation has to be proper, else your application will fail. Sorry, my bad. This has to be here, and this has to be here. This has to be here. Okay. Now I don't want to print anything because ultimately I will be passing this output input. Something is wrong. If else is here. Okay. I will be passing all this output to our front end, right? So here I will have my return statement. So def. Now, before the return statement, try to understand this thing that okay, there is a problem actually, very small problem. So in my home.html, actually we have the variables as output 1 and output 2. So what I'm going to do is I will be keeping the same naming convention so that you don't get confused. Okay, so I will use output 1 and output 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return, and in the return also I'm going to render the same template. Okay, so home.html, and here after home.html I will be passing output 1 is equals to output 1, output 2 is equals to output 2. So try to understand this thing. This is nothing but your this, and this is nothing but your this, right? If you want to make it O1, you can make it. You have to pass O1. That's it, right? I think it is understood. Now after output 1 and output 2, the next thing that you need to do is you need to pass your responses in all your queries. So query 1, query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5. So what do you pass in query 1, query 2, query 3? You have to pass request.form. You have to pass basically this thing, request.form of query 1. Okay. Similarly, you have to pass for all the queries. Query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5. So query 1 is done, query 2 is done, query 3 is done. If you want to break it to the next line, you can do that. I'm not breaking it. Query 5 done. What else? I think that's it. Should be fine. And then app.run. I think it should be fine. I don't have any other prediction. Yeah, it is used here. Prediction. Actually, this is not needed because we don't want to do the model prediction on the testing data, right? The model is ready. I'm directly leveraging the model and passing my new information from the front end. So let us run this code. If it works, then probably I will explain you again what this code actually means. So again, running the code, you can do it here or you can do it directly from Spider, up to you. I'm doing it from here because I'm used to it. So my application is ready. Then I will go and click on this, and here you go. Bingo, our application is live. Our Flask application is ready. 1 2 3 4 5. Randomly, if I pass submit, what happens is the patient is not diagnosed with breast cancer. Now what I will be doing, I will be taking similar kind of data examples. Let's say from this data we will be doing the same for our this thing. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then I will be passing that. So let's say I have 6 attributes, right? If you remember, we are not taking area mean, so we have to take this. So I'm passing this, then passing this, then passing this. There is a comma. If you pass, it will throw you error. Then compactness mean, and then symmetry mean. Submit, and it should return me this patient is diagnosed with breast cancer. Wonderful, isn't it? So try to understand what's happening behind the hoods. So what's happening behind the hoods is very simple. Now you have your front end application and you have all these fields, and then you have a submit button. So whatever details you are filling from the front end, so first of all, when the front end is started, your home.html is rendered, right? So if I refresh the page, so here what's happening, I just started my application, so only this page is called. Okay, only this page is called. Now if you pass information 1 2 something something something, what's happening, if you click on submit, your this function is triggered because it is a post function. When this function is triggered, you are basically getting all the information from your five different queries from the front end. So all these, this is query 1, this is query 2, query 3, query 4, query 5, and then using this you are actually calling your models and all those things. You are not calling prediction because you don't care about it. You are directly taking the data and then doing a single prediction. You have the data, on this data you are predicting here, you are predicting and you are doing predict proba, and you are passing both the information as output. So if you click on submit, all these things happen, and again as a render template you are rendering this, and in this template you are passing all this information. This is your output 1, output 2 in this case is null, you can see null, and then all these things, query 1, query 2 till query 5, you are passing everything. So basically the user input that the user has passed, you are returning it back to the front end so that user can know, okay, for this combination the output is patient is not diagnosed with breast cancer, right? Let's try to take another example. Randomly I will take another example. Let's say this one. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let me take this here. 1 2 3. I will remove this, this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then this one. Should be predicted with breast cancer. Yes, our machine learning model is working, our Flask model is also working. That's it. Now I hope you understand the concept of Flask. I hope that you understand how do you convert your boring Python notebook to a Flask application. Now you have a web application which is serving your machine learning model in backend. Now that is the end of Flask. But is this the end of the entire deployment process? No. In the next video, we shall be taking this exact model with this ugly UI. We will be trying to deploy that in any of the cloud services. Maybe we will be picking AWS as our toolkit to understand. We will be deploying this particular thing in AWS EC2 instances. Now the same thing that can be also replicated using Azure and GCP. So Azure and GCP deployments are already there on my YouTube channel. In case you want, you can go ahead, just search my name and search Azure or GCP deployment of machine learning. You will get the video and life is simple. So, but AWS also you will find it on YouTube, but I will be doing a separate video on AWS deployment, and the next video is all about that. That's it. I hope I understood, made you understand about this entire process. It's very simple. If you want to leverage the same thing for your own use case, you just have to tweak this, just have to tweak all these inputs. If you are passing some output, these things, that's it, and rest everything is very simple. So that's all about this particular video. See you in the next video. Hi. So far we already have understood what is Flask. Flask is nothing but a web framework using which you can convert your standalone Python notebooks, your standalone Python codes to Flask applications using APIs, right? Now in this video we are going to take the next step. So first we created a machine learning model. The second step, we created a Flask application for that model. In the third step, we are going to deploy it into AWS. Now, first of all, try to understand why this step is very important. Because imagine you have started working on Flask and you have eventually created your Flask application. If you remember, in your Flask application, your link that was hosted was localhost, right? Localhost colon 5000. Now try to understand this thing. What if your manager comes and he or she asks you to give an access to this application? He tells you, hey Satyajit, can you please give me the access to this tool? I want to check. Now what will you do? Because all your installations, all your Flask notebooks, all your codes, all your index HTML, everything, each and everything is on your system, and the link is hosted on localhost. Now if you give this link to your manager, obviously the link will not work because this is a local host link. This is only restrictive to your own laptop because it is localhost. Now in this case, what you need to do, there are multiple ways. We need to deploy this somewhere, right? And that somewhere could be anywhere. That could be an on-premises platform, could be a server, could be on cloud, inside cloud, could be on AWS, Azure, GCP, anything, right? But ultimately you have to deploy it in some external server or some server where multiple users can access. Now that is where your deployment's main objective comes into picture. That is the most important part of deployment. Your applications, your machine learning models has to be accessible to the users, to the end users, to your higher management, and so on. And for that, there are multiple ways. You can either deploy your Flask application on Azure, on GCP, or on AWS. In this particular course, in this particular module, we are specifically focusing on AWS because AWS has the largest share right now as compared to other competitors. And if you learn AWS, I believe that AWS is one of the toughest thing to handle. If you understand AWS, if you understand how to deploy it in AWS, then the deployments in Azure and GCP will be much easier than this. Okay, so for that reason, here we are going to talk about AWS EC2 instance, and we will be checking how can we deploy our Flask application that we created in the last class, in the last video. How do we deploy it in AWS EC2 instance? So let's get started with EC2. Now before getting into this, try to understand what EC2 means. First of all, EC2's full form is very simple. It is called as Elastic Compute Cloud. Now what is EC2? So Amazon EC2 provides resizable computer capacity in the cloud. It is designed to make web scale cloud computing easier for developers. Now there are multiple concepts inside it. The first concept is instances. Now instances are those kind of things where you are actually hosting your application. So basically EC2 provides virtual servers known as instances. Okay, now these instances can be configured with various CPU, memory, storage and networking capacities. The moment we jump into AWS console, we will also be creating an instance, and when we jump into that page, you will have a better understanding on what instances are. Because when we click on the instances, we will be seeing multiple instances that are available inside AWS with different configurations, with different CPU capabilities, with different memory capabilities and so on. There will be like T2 micro, T2 big, something like that. We'll try to talk about it. Then we have AMIs. AMIs are nothing but Amazon Machine Images. Again, while you select instances, we also have to select AMIs. These are pre-configured templates for instances. As I told you, when we click on instances, there will be multiple options, right? So these are the options that we see. which are called as Amazon machine images. Then we have instance types, key pairs, and multiple things inside it. Once we directly go to AWS console, I think you will be able to understand. It's not rocket science. So these are the various steps that we are going to perform for this particular activity. So we already have done the machine learning code. We already have the Flask application, right? Now our main task is to get started with AWS EC2, host one instance, let's say instance 1, and deploy this into instance 1. And once this is done, we will be getting a public address which you can pass it to your managers so that they can check your application on what and how you have built. Okay, so steps are very simple. First, we need to launch Amazon EC2 instances. Then we have to configure our content to deploy, then uploading our machine learning application, then deploying it, and once deployed, verification, and then terminating the instance. So this is basically where your testing is done, your application is ready. If you want to close it, you can terminate the instance. Okay, so moving ahead, what are the advantages? So there are multiple advantages. Complete control with ease of access. Now, before even talking about complete control, let me tell you that AWS is one of those clouds which has the largest market shares right now. However, Azure is also growing big because of capturing OpenAI and doing a lot of things around generative AI and large language models. But AWS is still a larger market. It is taking a larger market share. AWS is very, very powerful, right? So that's why one of the people's choices or one of the company's choices are by default AWS, right? So that's one of the major advantage. Complete control with ease of access. Users have complete administrative control over their virtual servers. Ability to select a platform. Yes, you can actually select your own platform. You have the ability to run an operating system of your choice, and it is secure. Security is one of the core concepts of each and every cloud that we have, but yeah, AWS is also secured. It has multiple built-in security features. When you launch an instance, it is run in a virtual private cloud that is a logically isolated network. Users have complete control over who can access the instances in the cloud. The Amazon EC2 also has something called a security group. So when you create an instance, automatically a security group is also attached to it. Basically, security groups acts as virtual firewalls to control the traffic to one or multiple instances. Users can establish rules to each security group and modify rules at any time. If a company decides to keep some processes running on premise and they want to connect their virtual private clouds to the physical hardware on site, they can establish a seamless connection through a hardware VPN. Now, this is how the things will look like if you get started with AWS. You first have to go to console.aws.com. You can go here and get started with selecting a plan. There are multiple plans. I will recommend you to get started with the basic plan because it is free, and I think whatever features it has, it is more than enough for your machine learning application. Okay, and then once you go ahead, you will be getting options like this. You will get a welcome message and blah blah blah, and if you move ahead, there are multiple steps that we need to do, and finally your AWS management console will start. Okay, so let's jump into it and then go ahead and see how to get started with AWS EC2 instances. And once they are launched, once they are active, how do we get started with the pushing the model code to AWS? So let's move on. In the previous video, we talked about the basic concepts of AWS EC2 instances and all those things, right? So one rectification from the previous video is that I told you to access the AWS console, you have to go to console.amazon.com, which was wrong. My bad, apology. You have to go to aws.amazon.com. So here you can go ahead and create your own account. In my case, I already have an account, so I will sign it. So here you will have to, so basically it does not look like this. This is my company's account, that's why it is looking like this. So I will be using my company's account as an example. Now in your case it should look like this. If I go to another page, let's say aws.amazon.com, it should look like this, and you will be getting an option like create an AWS account. If you click here, you should be able to create an AWS account very easily. So let's say root user email address, let's say I will give this AWS account name, let's say Satyajit Pattnaik, verify email address. Now it has sent me an email. Let me check if I got the email. And yes, I must have got, wait, yeah, I got an email. So verify your email address, blah blah blah. It has sent me a verification code, so I will be doing this 847 and verify. Boom, done. Now you can pass your you can give your root user password. Let's say in my case I will give something, and then continue, and then you move ahead. So it is asking to save. Yes, I will save it. I don't want to see. How do you plan to use? Let's say for personal, let's say my full name is this, phone number is Hong Kong, let's say Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong is not visible. Yeah, it's visible. And then address could be anything, just randomly I'm passing all these things. City Hong Kong, state Hong Kong, postal address, there is no postal address here, so I'm clicking save it. Now this is where the tricky part is. It will be asking you for a credit card, because initially without adding a credit card you will not be able to use AWS. But do not worry about it, there is a hack. I mean, credit card is needed, but there is a hack to restrict your credit card access. Because I mean, it's not a hack that I generated, but generally AWS will be giving you some credit limits. If you just pass the credit card details and all those things, automatically some credit points will be added to your AWS account. And make sure whenever you are doing some trials or creating some Flask application and want to deploy it on Amazon AWS EC2 instances, make sure your instances are turned off. Once you practice it, make it on. Once your practice is over, turn it off. Because eventually if you don't turn off, then I cannot help you. You will get a huge bill, right? So do not worry about adding the credit cards and all. It's completely safe. I have done it 1,000 times. Probably I'll do it one more time. So I will be hiding this screen for a while. So I added my credit card and going ahead. So just $1 transactional fees was cut. Oh, nothing was cut. Actually, I got transaction successful, just ₹1. That's it. So here it will be asking for some confirmation. So I will be giving my number, and then I will pass this HRRYY2. It's very tricky to read these kind of things. Okay, this is what the voice code was. Confirm your identity, again a code. Wow, that is too difficult. Just give me 1 second. I should be getting something on my email. Yes, I got Welcome to AWS services. Okay, I did not get any code. Confirm your identity. Did we get? Yeah, I got it. I got it on my phone. So 9605. All good. So we will continue to the last step. And here, this is the step that I was talking about. Now, here I was talking about this thing. After this step, you will be getting a screen like this, right? Basic plan, developer plan, and business plan. Just blindly go for basic plan, because for simple Flask application you do not need to worry about developer plans or business plans. Just basic plan is enough, and then you complete your sign up. Okay, now in my case I'm not going to do this because unnecessarily I won't be creating a new account and doing all these things. As I already guided you, that's it. So you add your credit card and then you go to the next steps, and then that's it. Create the basic support and complete sign up. So once this is done, I will be directly moving into my AWS account. So this is how my AWS account looks like. Now this is my company's account, so I'm going to use this, but I will hide all these things so that it is not visible to you. So for you it will not look like this. For you it will look like something like you will not be able to see this recently visited, because you have just created an account, you have not visited anywhere, right? So for you it could look different, so don't get frightened why in my case it is looking like this, in your case it is not looking like this, right? Now the first step that we are going to do is we are going to create a EC2 instance. So I will go here, and here I will be going to instances that are running. So in our case we already have so many instances. I will be actually going here, I forgot, wow, launch instance. Okay, now I will be clicking on launch an instance. So here I have to pass all my information. Let's say what is the name. So in my case I will be giving a simple name, let's say test AI. Okay, so test AI, and then I'm going to select Amazon Linux, and then it is auto pre-selected. You can see Amazon machine image. I told you, right, what are the different attributes of EC2. First of all is the instances. We are in the instance page, and then you can see Amazon machine image. Do not worry about what the hell is this. Let's just go ahead and select. In case you want to see the options, you can click on here and see there are several options, and for me I don't have to select anything. I will be choosing the default values. Architecture, nothing to change, that's it. Key value pair, okay, this is where we need to create a new key pair. So I will be creating a new key pair. Now here you see two things, one is RSA and one is this thing, encrypted private and public key pair. So I will be using this .ppk, and I will name this key pair name, let's say test AI. So once you do this, you can create it, or else if you directly go to launch instance, you will also get that window of creating a key pair. Okay, so both ways works, but I think let's just create it. I'm going to use the .ppk test AI, that's it, and then create a key pair. My key pair is ready, downloaded as test AI.ppk. Now do not share this with anybody. Now if you want to know what is this key value pair or key pair in AWS, you can simply go ahead and ask ChatGPT, sir, tell me what is the ppk, what is the ppm. In simple terms, ppk is nothing but a key that AWS is providing you. This is nothing but a private key. That means AWS is like a lock. AWS is like a lock, and they have given you a key in order to access them. So without this ppk, nobody will be able to access your instances and all those things. Nobody will be able to access the servers. So that in that sense it is completely safe, right? Nothing else to do. Everything is good. Launch instance. Now in couple of seconds the instances will be launched. You can see already launched. We will go to instances, right? Now my instance is launched. Now it is pending. In couple of seconds it will be running. Now once your instance is launched, then comes the next thing. We will be accessing your server and then we will be doing the magic. Okay, you can see it is running. So this thing, click on this instance ID and here you will be seeing multiple things. First of all, you are seeing the private IP address, you are seeing public IP address and various other things. For us, what's important is this. Okay. Now, how do we access to this Linux server? First of all, go to the web, download PuttyGen. Okay. So just go here, download your PuttyGen. PuttyGen is nothing but a key generator tool. You can, basically we have downloaded the .ppk. So PuttyGen is not required actually. You can directly go ahead and download Putty. That's it. Putty is nothing but a free SSH tool. Just download it and you are good. Apart from Putty, you should also download WinSCP. In my case, I already have WinSCP. So I'll show you how to access the server. Go to Putty, paste your host name, this thing, public IP v4 DNS. Done. Click on this SSH, click on this auth, go to this credentials. Here it is asking for the private key for authentication. Browse and give your test AI. That's it. Open and click on accept. Provide your username, EC2 user. Hooray! We are logged into the Amazon server. So once you are already in the server, I just cleared the screen so that it is not visible. Now first thing is, let's try to install something. Pip install not found. Okay, let's try to check the Python version of this. Python command not found. Okay, so let's try to see whether we have Python or not. Grep -i Python. So this command basically tells you whether Python is installed in this system or not. Logically, there is no matching packages to this list. Yum list installed, I think. No, yum list installed. Yeah, so Python 3 is available. Python 3 is available. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, using my Python 3, I'm going to, can we do like this version? Yeah, so Python is 3.9.16 here. I think it is the latest one. I mean, latest is 3.12, but 3.9 is also fine, no problem. So let's go ahead and create our virtual environment. Remember, this is the very first step in order to work on anything, right? Python 3 -m venv, and then I'll give some location test.env. So remember this path always, okay? test/env. And then once your virtual environment is ready, always start with test env/bin.activate. So you can see my my virtual environment is activated. In this case, let's say if I want to install something, I will be doing pip install pandas, and you can see here you go, pandas is able to get installed. Now I will go back to my original code, the collab code, or else we already have the spider code here. So we have to install all these things. Okay, sklearn we have to install, numpy we have to install. So either you do this manually, or if you have your requirements.txt, you can do it from there also. Pip install matplotlib and then pip installed sklearn. I think we are good. And after that, Flask, we also need to install Flask. Pip install Flask and pip install scikit-learn. So we are good. All the installations are done. Math, are we using it somewhere? No, right? It's not needed. It's a redundant code. Sorry, not redundant, not important code. Are we using re anywhere? re dot something. No, again that is also not used. Okay, I think we are good. Now what we need to do is we need to push our code to this environment. So in order to push our code to this environment, I will be using WinSCP. Okay, now WinSCP. Okay, so it is asking for host name. I will go copy this and paste it here. Username is EC2 user, and I will go to advanced. I'll go to authentication, and here I will pass my private key. Okay, click on OK, click on login. No supported authentication. Username, okay, that is weird. One second. Oh, this is my Gen AI instance. Okay, I'll be going here. This one. We created test AI, right? I was in another page. So advanced and authentication we have already given, login, and you should be able to successfully log in. That's it, right? This is your test environment that we have created. Now on the left hand side you have to go to where your file is, so potentially here, and then browse. Just click on OK, and you have to pass everything this side. So images is not needed. We have to pass the templates and the py. Okay, I will no, I have to create a folder here. Let's say I will be creating a folder, let's say test AI. Okay, and then inside my test AI I have to pass these two. Done. So my test AI is ready. I'll go to this ll. You can see I am able to see test AI. Now here I can see all these files. How does my app.py looks like? Looks beautiful. Okay, now what we need to do is, okay, there is one change that we need to do here. Instead of app.run we have to make it app.run debug is equals to false, port is equals to, let's say, 8000, and host I think we don't need. Okay, so let's try to run no hub python app.py and %. So what I'm doing here is a no hub command actually helps you to execute the Python notebook in backend. The reason why I'm doing this is, let's say you just do python app.py, right, and then your application is ready. If you control C, your application will go down. If you close the session or close this window, your application will go down. In order to not make your application down, I'm just doing this step. Okay, so run this and then do tail -f no hop, and you can see your application is ready on this particular location. But how do we access this app? You have to go here, go to this public app, a public address, and then go here, and you should be able to see your application. Just close the application. So I will be closing this file. I will be rerunning it. Seems to be some problem, but we'll just try to figure it out. So app.py, maybe this could be the reason. I don't know. Just giving it a try. This is fine. Now here also, instead of app.run, Flask app. Okay. So let's say I will rewrite this line once again. App dot if name is equals to okay. Okay, now it looks like it is running. So I will be taking this. Come on. 172.31. This is my private IP. I think I'm doing right. I don't know why it is not working. Pretty sure it will not work on this one because this is a private IP. This site cannot be reached. I think I know the problem. Let me try to go to my AWS and see whether this port is actually active or not. So let's go to this test AI, especially to this security, and in this security, yeah, I knew this. So here to this security group, I need to edit the inbound report, add rule. Okay, so this is the problem. Okay, just let me do this configuration. This was something missed from my side. Let me go to my previous instance. So actually we have not enabled the port. The 8000 port is not enabled, right? So I'll quickly do this setting. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, this is the thing. Inbound rule, this thing 8080, we have to basically edit. So how do we add it? Custom TCP. So we have to add a custom TCP, and let's say port, let's say I give 8000, and here I give this, and done. Save rules. My rules are saved, nothing to worry about. Now I will directly go ahead to ps-f grep app, and then nothing is running. Fine. I will go ahead, no hub python app.py. That's it. And I think I should be able to run this piece of code, and here you go. Yes, after a lot of struggle we are able to fix it. So it was a very small mistake, but I also gave I also told you the same thing when I was doing the theoretical part, that we have to open the port, but I myself forgot. But anyways, let's try to test it out. So wow, it is working. So my API is hit and it is working fine. And oh, sorry, why it is localhost? My bad. Yeah, it's working fine. One problem. Actually, upon submitting, it is going to localhost 5,000. Okay, I have to fix that. So app.py, do we have? We are not doing anything here. Templates. Yeah, so this is the problem. Form action localhost. No, this is not. We need to fix this. This is the reason why it is not working. Noha python app.py, and hey god, now it should work. Yes, we have. Let's try to test it out. Submit. Not working because it is going to this one. Okay, so this thing is not working. How do we pass the global? So basically we have changed this to our this thing, our public IP, which is present inside our instance. So let's go ahead, sorry, my bad. Let's go ahead, and I think our application is also down. I'll go back and I will finally call my Python df no hop. This time it should work. Wow, it works, but the major thing is after submit it should work. And yes, it is working. It is not diagnosed, so the app is working, right? So this is how you deploy your Python Flask based application into AWS EC2 instances. I know there was struggle. The struggle was because I am doing this stuff after a long time, um, but anyways, it's not that difficult, right? It's we just have to follow the processes and that's it. Now there are some issues that you might face, which is how to work on Unix commands, because I was a bit fast on these things. Probably I'll spend 1 more minute to explain these kind of commands that I was using. So ps minus ef basically gives you list of all the processes that is running in the system. And if you grep basically is nothing but a filter. You are finding out anything that has app. It is like a like command. And if you see this application is already running, then you have to kill this process. If you kill it, the application will be down. And once your application is down, then if you want to again restart, you can restart it like this in a nohup command, nohup python app amb and %, which means your application gets started and all the logs are getting stored in the nohup.out. Okay, so that's it. So our Flask application was ready. We have deployed it on AWS EC2 instance. The video was a little bit large, but I think finally we have done it. That's it. See you in the next video, and till the time you go to the next video, I will request you to please create your own machine learning model, convert it into a Flask application and deploy it on AWS. Even if for fun, just do it, because only when you do it, then you will face challenges. Come back to this video, try to fix the challenges, get over it, deploy it, at least do 5 to 6 times, 5 to 6 applications, and I think you're good. And make sure once you are not using it, let's say your testing is done, please do not forget to go here, click on this click on this here and stop instance, because this is very important. The moment you stop it, all your connections will go down, all your applications will go down, and they will not be able to use the link that we were using, right? We will not be able to use that because this is already turned off. Okay, that's it. See you in the next video.